Hey, YouTube followers, if there are any out there at all, I don't know. Not too many people seem to be interested in my Econoline van camper conversion, but there aren't a lot of videos out there about them either, so you might want to pay attention. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to show you where we're at. Let me turn the camera around. So, this is the interior of my camper. I've got stuff everywhere because I need every tool out of the garage, just about all the cable I don't need. So what I've been doing for the past 2-3 days during this heat wave is this. By the way, all my drawings, designs, schematics, there's more over there on the door. That's the plumbing and the other cabinetry. But this is just so I can consistently remind myself of what the heck I'm doing here. Anyway, I've got almost everything wired up. Something about, you might want to know if you're going to do something like this. These cables, this is a 2-aught battery cable. This one here that's a number 2 AWG. 2-aught. This stuff is stiffer than a porn star's you know what. It is hard to bend. It is hard to work with. It's hard to cut unless you have big cutters, which I don't. I've got small angle cutters. But anyway, so battery, room for another battery next to it. That's my 120 volt box over there. It's not hooked up, and it's backwards just because it's a space keeper right now. It's where it's going to be. I'm going to have to turn it around, hook it up to, there's I showed you last time, the 30 amps coming in right down there. It's going to go into the box, come out here. I'm going to have a 20 amp outlet to plug into. It's going to be over here, right above this. This will be on the outside wall. I'll have a port cut away in the panel to get access to the inverter, so I can switch. Don't have the plug on here yet, but that's basically my extension cord, which runs to the other side of the camper, which is going to be for, see it coming out right there, couple outlets over there, all on a 20 amp circuit, so I can run a TV and a microwave, small microwave. Down below here, we got the AC to DC charger right there. This is the outlet it plugs into. This is a charger. Come on. This charger actually has a corded plug. It's going to plug into that dedicated 15 amp circuit right there. So in my box here, turn it around for a second, I got a 15 amp breaker. Come on, jeez. Hard to work here with the phone and everything. 15 amp, 20 amp. Okay, that's going to be up in there, sitting like that. 2 outlets come out of it. Switch from inverter to shore power simply by unplugging and plugging in. Down here, the inverter calls for, that's the 2 gauge for the inverter. Calls for a 200 amp fuse. These things are ridiculously expensive. And yes, if you go online and buy them, make sure it comes with the fuse, because I bought the 2 blocks. I needed a 250 over here. That's for the main power connections to the batteries, which again, there will be a second battery sitting next to this one at some point. 250 amp fuse, Class T fuse, 200 amp Class T fuse. These are my bus bars, my main bus bars with all the heavy connections in it. I got the wires coming from down below for the AC charger and DC charger. Here's the DC to DC charger. I don't know if you recall, I said that the previous owner had put a real nice stereo in it, and they used a stereo battery isolator, you know, audio, suitable for audio, not suitable for charging a lithium iron phosphate battery, commonly known as a lithium battery. It's a 100 amp battery, 100 amp hour battery. Put another 100 amp hour battery next to it. but breaker, isolator switch. So the 4-gauge battery cable coming from the front. You can see it right back there, coming up through the floor, runs up to the cab. There's also called a DC plus, which goes to the ignition switch so that the darn charger doesn't turn on unless the actual car is turned on. Again, a breaker, power goes into it, power comes out, power goes through the breaker, power comes up right there. One of those are the two chargers from down below, and into my main positive bus bar. I've got a breaker over here. That's a jumper cable. I got a breaker over here going into my 12-volt fuse block. Also goes negative going into the bus. Switch isolators, also an isolator switch so I can shut off the power from the batteries. That's that switch right there. Fuse, there will be a line going from there to there. Not that one, because that one is not set up properly. This one is actually just the right length to be the jumper between the two batteries. So fortunately, it wasn't wasted when I did it incorrectly. Battery shunt over here. This is negative from the battery, goes into the battery shunt. Battery shunt is going to have a power wire supplying power to the actual monitor. This is for, excuse me, the battery monitor. Then, of course, the negative going into my bus, and this is my main ground. And that's why all of that is 2-aught cable. Main ground of the body down there. And then, of course, all these other wires are for my accessories, my fans, my lights, etc., etc. Just a recap, a look at the beautiful bed I built. Lovely, lovely bed. And I added a support box for that. Well, since I seem to be coughing like crazy, and I went way over time on this, I'm going to end it right here. And I hope you enjoyed this, hope you got something out of it. Please feel free to comment, question. I do check it like every couple of months, but anyway, be safe out there. Get out and go fishing. That's what I'm trying to do.